Hey, welcome to Redeeming the Latter Days. Today we're going to be doing another episode in our Paul Problems series. This episode is entitled Our Beloved Brother Paul. And one of the things that people usually throw at you when you bring the mountain of evidence that we've brought in this 40-plus part series on the apostolic claims of Paul of Tarsus is, yeah, but 2 Peter 3. Peter vouched for Paul and called him his brother. So we're going to take a look at that today and bring something new into consideration that may just give us some insight into perhaps why Peter chose those words. There are various ways to explain 2 Peter 3. I'm going to link a video in the description below that was made by Doug over at the Jesus Words Only YouTube channel, where he discusses hard to understand and lays out the case that hard to understand is the Greek word dysnotos. It doesn't mean hard to understand, it means destructive to common sense or to a good understanding. Obviously, Paul having words that are destructive to a good understanding is not a compliment. It's not a stamp of approval by Peter on what Paul taught, on his doctrine. Okay, before we jump in anymore and talk anymore, let's just go ahead and read 2 Peter 3. 2 Peter 3, and we're going to be specifically focusing in on verses 14 to 17. Therefore, beloved, looking forward to these things, be diligent, be found by him in peace, without spot and blameless. And consider that the long suffering of our Lord is salvation, as also our beloved brother Paul, according to the wisdom given to him, has written to you. As also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to understand or destructive, as I mentioned, to common sense or to a good understanding, which untaught and unstable people twist to their own destruction, as they do also the rest of the scriptures or the rest of the writings. Okay? So why would he say, if Paul was all these things that we've laid out, why would Peter still refer to him as his beloved brother? Why? Let's examine a few scriptures. Let's look first at the Torah. Deuteronomy 23, verse 7. Deuteronomy 23, verse 7. Remember that Herod was an Edomite. King Herod was an Edomite. And we also know in Romans 16 that Paul says, greet my kinsman, or that word means blood relative, Herodian. Greet my family member, Herodian. Paul was, of course, he was a Jew of the tribe of Benjamin, but he was also an Edomite. Okay? With that in mind, let's look now at 23:7. You shall not abhor an Edomite. You shall not despise or detest an Edomite, for he is your brother. Do not detest an Edomite because he's your brother. What did Peter say? Our beloved brother Paul. You shall not abhor an Egyptian because you were an alien in his land. But the first part of this verse is obviously what is relevant to our discussion. You shall not detest an Edomite because he is your brother. Paul was an Edomite. Now let's look at Romans. Let's jump back to Romans. And let's look at Romans 11:1. Romans 11:1. What else was Paul? We know he was an Edomite. What else was Paul? I say then, has God cast away his people? Certainly not. For I also am an Israelite. He's an Edomite, but he's also an Israelite. He's a double agent of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. We've discussed in a previous video the prophecy of Jacob in Genesis 49 over the tribe of Benjamin, that Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. and how that pertains prophetically to Paul. If you haven't seen that, I urge you to go back and watch that video after we're done here. But we see here that Paul's an Edomite, he's also an Israelite, and specifically of the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, let's look at Philippians 3, verse 5. Philippians 3, verse 5. Circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of the Hebrews, concerning the law of Pharisee. So once again, he says, I'm of the stock of Israel, I'm a Benjamite. Now, let's look at Leviticus 19:18. You shall not take vengeance nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Hashem. Love your neighbor. Don't bear a grudge against any of the children of your people. Okay? Loving your brother, our beloved brother Paul. Do not detest the Edomite because he is your brother. Let's look now at John. What does Yeshua say? Let's look at John. Let's look at chapter 13, verse 35. John 13:35. By this you will know that you are my disciples. This is Yeshua speaking. By this you will know, they will know that you are mine, if you have love for one another. We've seen over and over and over and over again throughout our series that Paul didn't have a love for his brother. He did not love those that he should have considered his brothers. He did not have any love for them. We've examined this over and over. He throws them under the bus at every opportunity. What does Yeshua say? Love your brother. In fact, it will be the telltale sign that you're mine because you love one another. Okay? Now let's look at chapter 15. Let's look at two verses here, 12 and 17. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Yeshua is saying, love each other as I have loved you. 17, these things I command you, that you love one another. Love, 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 love. Very, very important. It's critical. It's part of our identification. It's part of the sign that we belong to him, that we are his disciples and not the disciples of another. Let's look now at 1 John chapter 3. 1 John 3, and let's look at verse 14. First John 3:14. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love the brethren. He who does not love his brother abides in death. Even Paul, the Edomite and the Benjamite, who was a false prophet, a liar, a false apostle, it doesn't give us an excuse to hate him or to detest him, to abhor him. We still must love him with brotherly love. Okay? This is a really, really important thing to consider. And I think we miss this a lot of times as we come into the understanding of Paul and the reality of Paul. Yeah, he's a wolf. Yeah, he's a false apostle. Yeah, he's a false prophet. He's a test. But we still do not have permission to abhor or detest or hate him. Okay? Look at 1 John 4, 11 and 12. Again, why are we seeing this theme over and over? It's important. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought to love one another. No one has seen God at any time. If we love, conditional statement, if we love one another, God abides in us, and his love has been perfected in us. It's a big deal. This is a really big deal. Let's look at verses 20 to 21. If someone says, I love God, and he hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, how can he love God, whom he has not seen? And this commandment we have from him, that he who loves God must love his brother also. Not optional. It's mandatory. Last but not least, let's look at 2 John 1:5. 2 John 1:5. And now I plead with you, lady, not as though I wrote a new commandment to you, but that which we have had from the beginning, that we love one another. So again, over and over and over and over again, we are told that it's mandatory. It's not optional. We must love one another. We must love our brother. We cannot abhor the children of our people. We cannot abhor the Edomite, who is our brother. What if 2 Peter 3 is not a case of Peter stamping his approval on Paul and considering him one of them, one in the faith, or putting a stamp of approval on what his doctrine was? We know that's not the case. What if it was merely Peter bearing the fruit that a true disciple, a true apostle, should have on the tree? And that is, amongst other things, love for your brother. What if Peter was simply being obedient to Moses, to the law of Moses, and not abhorring the Edomite? What if he was simply being obedient to the master and bearing the fruit that all of the master's apostles should have, all of the master's disciples should have? Love for your brother, love for one another. I think this is certainly something that we must consider as we're trying to better understand what's going on here in 2 Peter 3. So I wanted to bring that to you for your consideration. I hope this video has been a blessing to you. Again, if you have not gone through the rest of this series, I urge you, in love, go back, start from the beginning, watch the introductory video to the entire series, and then begin to progress your way through the entire series. There are more than 40 episodes. It will take you a little bit of time to work through all the episodes, but all the hard lifting has been done for you. Everything has been mapped out and laid out in a very clear manner. All of the verses, all of the passages, everything is done for you. It's all laid out for you. All you have to do is do it. So before you have a knee-jerk reaction and make a judgment and say, this is nonsense, there's nothing to this, don't be a fool. It's folly to you, Proverbs says, if you judge a matter before hearing the matter out. Do not make a judgment until you've gone through this series with a fine-tooth comb. Leave no stone unturned. Again, the hard lifting has been done for you. All you have to do is go through the video series. It's laid out for you in an orderly, systematic fashion. So I urge you, do that. Don't wait until later. Don't put it off. Start today. Begin to go through these videos because this is a critical understanding to grasp. It is fundamental. It's very important to understand. And we have a limited amount of time left to understand this topic. So I urge you, I encourage you, go back, begin at the beginning of the playlist and work your way through. Continue to seek Him, continue to press in, to search for Him with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your strength. Return to the Master. Return to the words of our Messiah and what He taught and the path that He laid out while there is still time to do so. So with all that said, I'm going to end this video. And until next time, shalom.